So, the story starts in this kingdom that is right next to a super sketchy forest. It is giving major haunted energy with dark vibes even during the day. A witch runs the place, and it is full of monsters, which is honestly a massive red flag. But deep inside this scary woods, a wolf sings to the moon every night like she is the main character. There is this prince who is living his best life in the kingdom, but he is a bit of a weirdo. He starts ignoring all the safety warnings and goes into the forest just to hear the wolf sing. He is literally her biggest stan, clapping for her performance every night, even though he has no clue who or what is actually singing. The wolf is actually a man-eating monster, so her first instinct was to treat the prince like a snack, literally. But then he starts clapping and hyping her up, and since she never gets compliments, she decides not to eat him. It is kind of wholesome how his validation stops her from going full predator mode on him. Now the wolf is stressing out because she realizes if the prince finds out she is a monster, he will definitely ghost her. She wants to keep the vibes good, so she hides in the shadows every time she sings. She is terrified of ruining their friendship, so she keeps her identity a secret to avoid getting cancelled by the prince. Seasons change, and the prince decides he wants to meet his idol in person. He climbs up the rock to see her, wanting to be besties for real. The wolf is just vibing and singing, completely unaware that he is climbing up to see her face. She misses the cue that he is approaching until it is way too late. The wolf finally notices the prince is right there and panics. She does not want to be seen as a monster, so she tries to cover his eyes. But her claws are sharp and she accidentally hurts his face. It is a total disaster and the prince falls off the rock. The wolf grabs him, but he feels her hairy arm and freaks out. The prince is terrified because he thinks a monster just attacked him, which is technically true, but it was an accident. He screams and the wolf feels terrible, so she lets go. He falls, but lands on some grass. Soldiers show up immediately, assuming a monster attacked him, and start shooting arrows. The wolf has to run away, leaving the prince behind. The prince is badly hurt and passes out, traumatized by the monster with the scary claws. Fast forward a bit, and the prince is now blind because of the injury. His family is super toxic and decides he is useless to the kingdom now, so they lock him up in a tower. It is actually tragic how quickly everyone abandoned him. The wolf hears about the prince being locked up and feels incredibly guilty since it is her fault. She decides to sneak into the castle to check on him. She climbs the tower like a ninja, desperate to make things right. She finds him in a cold, lonely cell with bandages over his eyes, looking absolutely miserable. The prince hears someone and gets scared, but then he recognizes her voice as the singer from the forest. He is so relieved she is safe, which makes the wolf feel even worse. She realizes he is genuinely a good person, and seeing him hurt because of her mistake hits her right in the feels. When the prince asks how she got in, the wolf panics and invents a fake persona. She tells him she is a princess from a neighboring kingdom. It is the ultimate catfish move, lying about her identity to keep him from freaking out. She tells him it is unfair that he is locked up just because he got hurt. Hi there. If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel. The wolf comes up with a plan to take him to the witch in the forest to heal his eyes. She tells him the witch can grant any wish. The prince is skeptical because that sounds like a fairy tale, but the wolf insists. She is basically gaslighting him into trusting her, but her intentions are actually pure this time. The prince is hesitant because he is blind and traumatized by the hairy arm he felt earlier. He is scared of going back to the forest. The wolf realizes she cannot guide him as a monster because her claws would scare him again. She feels helpless, knowing her true form is the source of his nightmares. The wolf touches his hand gently and promises to take him herself. The prince agrees to wait for her. She rushes back to the forest, running all night to reach the witch's house. She is on a mission to fix her mistake, hoping she can make a deal to help the prince before it is too late. She arrives at the witch's place. The witch is surprised to see a man-eating wolf asking for a favor. The wolf asks to be turned into a human so she can help the prince. The witch is intrigued because it is rare for a monster to want to be human, and she smells an opportunity to make a profit. The witch agrees to grant the wish but demands a payment. She wants the wolf's most precious possession. The witch is a collector of rare items and wants something unique. The wolf knows exactly what the price will be: her singing voice. It is the only thing she has that is worth anything, and it is the thing the prince loved most. The wolf offers her singing voice without hesitation. It is a huge sacrifice because singing was her whole identity. But saving the prince matters more. The witch is pleased with the deal and extracts the voice. It is a sad moment, trading her talent for the chance to fix the mess she caused with the prince. The witch asks what kind of human she wants to be. The wolf pictures a princess, matching the lie she told the prince. The witch mocks her a bit, but agrees. She gives the wolf the ability to transform between a human girl and her wolf form, acting like it is a generous bonus feature for the deal. The magic happens, and the wolf turns into a cute human girl. But there is a catch. Moonlight reveals her true form, and transformation takes energy. The witch warns her about the limitations, but the wolf is just happy she can hold the prince's hand without scaring him. She leaves the witch's house feeling hopeful for the first time. The wolf returns to the tower and practices being a human girl. She is nervous but ready. She greets the prince as the princess and tells him she is ready to rescue him. She breaks the lock on his cell using her monster strength, while telling him to stand back so he does not see or hear the violence. She gets the prince out of the cell. He is nervous about the journey, but she grabs his hand. The prince comments on how small and warm her hand is compared to the monster's claw he felt before. The wolf feels a mix of relief and guilt, knowing she is actively deceiving him but doing it for his own good. They start their journey through the forest. The prince talks about how much he loves flowers and books. It is a cute bonding moment. Suddenly, a monster attacks from the bushes. The wolf has to quickly transform back into her monster form to fight it off, all while trying to keep the prince from realizing what is happening. After fighting off the enemy, the prince is terrified because he heard the fighting. The wolf quickly turns back into a girl and tries to calm him down. She grabs a flower from nearby and gives it to him, distracting him from the violence. It is a clever move to keep her cover intact while also being sweet. The prince is so happy about the flower. He mentions he wishes he could see it. The wolf feels bad but is happy she made him smile. The prince offers to teach her about flowers since she claims not to know much. They are getting closer, but the secret of her identity is literally the elephant in the room. It gets dark, and they get hungry. The wolf, still thinking like a predator, offers him raw meat she caught. The prince is disgusted and confused, explaining that humans cook their food. It is a funny culture clash moment where the wolf realizes she has no clue how to act like a normal human being. The wolf pretends she knew that and makes an excuse about not having fire. The prince, being helpful, suggests using a torch or starting a fire. The wolf is terrified of fire because all animals are, but she has to suck it up to maintain her disguise. She is really struggling to keep up with the charade. They find a rundown hut in the woods to rest. Inside, there are goats that look dead but are just sleeping. The wolf sees them as food, but the prince thinks they are people. The wolf has to stop herself from eating their hosts because the prince wants to help them. Her predatory instincts are fighting with her desire to be a good princess. The prince wants to feed the hungry goats. The wolf reluctantly agrees to help hunt for food. They bring back meat, and with the prince's help, they cook it. The goats wake up and are grateful. It is bizarre because the wolf is serving food to creatures she would normally eat, all to impress the prince. Cooking the meat is hard for the wolf because she is scared of the fire, but seeing the prince try to help gives her courage. They have a nice dinner with the goats. The goats are actually monsters too, but they are chill. The prince is completely oblivious to the fact that he is hanging out with a bunch of creatures. Later that night, one of the goats talks to the wolf while the prince sleeps. The goat calls her out, asking if she is planning to eat the human later. The wolf gets defensive, insisting they are friends. The goat mocks her, saying monsters and humans can't be friends and it will end badly. It plants a seed of doubt in her mind. The goat's words hit deep. The wolf starts overthinking everything. She knows deep down that she is lying to the prince every second. She worries that eventually her nature will take over, or he will find out and hate her. She spends the night sleepless, consumed by anxiety about her fake identity and the inevitable reveal. The next morning, they leave the goats. The goats wave goodbye, warning the wolf not to eat the boy. The prince thinks they are just nice people. The wolf shakes off the bad vibes and continues leading the prince deeper into the forest, determined to reach the witch despite her internal crisis. They stop by a lake. The prince wants to play a game to pass the time. He suggests a guessing game where the loser has to grant a wish. The wolf gets super competitive and loses. The prince's wish is for her to sing for him again, which is awkward because she literally traded her voice to help him. The wolf tries to sing, but only a raspy, terrible sound comes out. The prince is confused because her voice used to be beautiful. She lies again, saying her throat hurts from the journey. The prince is super understanding and tells her to rest. His kindness just makes her feel like an even bigger fraud. That night, the wolf wanders by the lake, feeling depressed. She looks at her reflection, monster 1 second, human the next. She hates that she has to lie to be loved. She feels trapped in this web of deceit, but knows she cannot stop now because the prince needs his eyes fixed. It is a classic tragic hero situation. She considers giving up. She transforms into her wolf form and almost touches him, thinking she should just leave. But she decides to pick a flower for him instead. She hands it to him as a wolf, but quickly turns back into a princess when he wakes up. It is a close call and her emotions are all over the place. They are walking through a cave and the ground collapses. The prince falls and the wolf grabs his hand. But as a human princess, she is too weak to pull him up. She knows she needs to transform into a wolf to save him, but if she does, he will feel her claws and know the truth. It is a terrible dilemma. She struggles and fails to pull him up, and his hand slips. He falls, but luckily lands safely. The wolf is devastated by her weakness. She realizes that being human means she is physically weak, but being a wolf means she is a monster to him. She feels like she cannot win either way. They reach a spot full of holes, and suddenly swarms of moles pop out. They surround the couple. The prince freezes, scared. The wolf is ready to fight, but the moles are just sniffing around. One tries to eat the flower the prince is holding. It turns out the moles are obsessed with flowers and think they are snacks. The wolf talks to the moles. They demand flowers in exchange for safe passage. The prince, being the sweet guy he is, agrees to go find a flower field to feed them. The wolf agrees because she wants to keep the peace. It is a weird side quest, but they head off to find a massive field of flowers. They find the flower field, and it is breathtaking. The wolf describes it to the prince, and he wishes he could see it. They gather huge bouquets of flowers. It is a peaceful moment amidst the chaos. They bring the flowers back to the moles, who go absolutely feral eating them. The moles are happy and let them pass. Later, they return to the flower field at night just for themselves. The scenery is romantic, with moonlight shining down. The wolf picks a special flower for the prince. They hold hands, and the prince feels safe. But then the clouds move, and the full moonlight hits the wolf, forcing a transformation. The transformation happens instantly. The prince feels the hand holding his turn into a giant, hairy claw. It is the exact same sensation from the day he was blinded. The trauma comes rushing back. He realizes the princess is actually the monster who hurt him. The betrayal hits him like a truck. The prince freaks out and pulls away. He accuses her of being a monster and a liar. The wolf tries to explain, but it is too late. The prince steps back and falls off a cliff in his panic. He drops the lantern he was holding. The wolf watches in horror as he falls into the darkness below. The prince is gone, fallen into the forest. The lantern sets the forest on fire. The wolf is heartbroken by his words, calling her a liar. She stands there, frozen, while the fire spreads. It is her worst nightmare, fire everywhere and the prince missing. She has to make a choice, run from the fire or go save him. Despite her terrifying fear of fire, the wolf jumps down to find him. She runs through the burning forest, scorching her fur. She finds the prince surrounded by flames, terrified. She approaches him, not as a princess, but as the wolf. He is scared, but she is there to protect him, proving her loyalty is real. Suddenly, a massive roar shakes the ground. The witch has transformed into a giant monster because her precious forest collection is burning. She is furious. All the other monsters are fleeing, but the wolf and prince are trapped. They have to face the boss battle together, even though their relationship is currently on the rocks. The prince realizes the witch is just mad about her stuff being destroyed. He suggests they apologize. It sounds crazy to apologize to a rampaging kaiju, but the wolf agrees to try. They team up, with the wolf fighting to protect the prince while they try to get through to the witch. It is a chaotic, fiery showdown. They manage to calm the witch down. She returns to her normal form but is still salty about her burnt forest. The wolf, desperate, begs the witch to fulfill the promise to heal the prince's eyes. The witch is annoyed but impressed by their audacity. She agrees, but since the wolf has nothing left to trade, she demands a new price. The price is the wolf's memories of the prince. The witch will take every memory of their time together. It is a cruel twist. The wolf agrees immediately because she just wants him to see again. The prince tries to stop her, yelling that he forgives her and does not care about his eyes anymore. But the deal is sealed. The witch casts the spell. The wolf turns back into a wolf permanently. Her memories of the prince start fading away. The prince is crying, holding her paw. He tells her she was never a liar to him. It is a super emotional goodbye. The wolf's last thought is relief that she could apologize and that he forgave her. Time passes. The wolf is back in the forest, living as a monster. She has no memory of the prince or their journey. She feels an emptiness she cannot explain. She tries to sing at the moon, but her voice is gone, so she just howls sadly. It is a lonely existence, and she feels like she is missing a huge part of herself. One night, a human climbs up to her rock. The wolf prepares to attack, thinking it is just prey. But the human hands her a flower. It is the prince, and his eyes are healed. He smiles at her, recognizing his friend. The wolf does not remember him, but the flower triggers a warm feeling in her heart. The wolf stops her attack and accepts the flower. She starts crying without knowing why. The prince sits next to her, just like old times. She tries to sing, and even though her voice is raspy and bad, the prince listens happily. They sit together under the moon, reconnecting in a new, silent understanding. It is a bittersweet but beautiful ending. Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.